First here on set with me, Eric Yaverbaum, associate publisher, social media mags, and people can find you on Twitter as well. You have a handle?
I do, Real Yaverbaum.
Yaverbaum. All right. And then we've got Ed Pozzuoli, former advisor for John Huntsman's presidential campaign, joining us live in the Miami bureau. Ed, I hope I got your last name right.
You did great, Laura.
Oh,
Thank
good.
you, and welcome.
Aren't you always jealous of the Miami bureau?
I know, right? Every time we go to the Miami bureau, it's beautiful palm trees and a nice blue sea behind you. So, gentlemen, I want to bring you both in. I hope, Ed, you were able to hear some of Mike Emanuel's report talking to undecided voters. I first want to turn to Eric here on set and just get your take on what Mike was talking about with those voters.
Well, I think that what's going to happen in this election is going to go right. It's going to be week by week by week. Who makes a misstatement? I've always said it's the economy. It's got to be. If filling up my tank is a problem and my house is worth less, it's got to be an issue. And now suddenly we have national security back on as a top issue. I think it very much matters what happens the 2 weeks before the election.
And Ed, before I get to you, I promised that we would bring in our viewers. We already have people sending us comments. VSLSR sends in a comment. It's almost unbelievable to me how there could be undecided voters still out there. What are they waiting for? And then, can you read this? Comes to us and says they need to hear more. Why? Haven't you seen enough in the last 4 years? Ed, what do you make of these undecided voters and where their heads are at this point?
Well, Laura, you know that if you're undecided now, usually you break against the incumbent, so that's good news for Mitt Romney. Now, the other side is it's always the economy. It's been the economy all along. You got really, the real unemployment rate is closer to 15%, not just over 8%, according to the Department of Labor. You've got people underwater on their homes and a number of people underemployed and trying to figure out how to make ends meet. So hope and change 4 years ago really has fallen short. I think the interview of the undecided voter in Virginia, he summed it up best, that he voted for Obama last time based upon the hope and change, and the president's policies have failed him.
Now, Ed, I was listening to what that gentleman in the restaurant said. He said he felt that Obama is disengaged, pointing to the fact that he's going to be on Letterman tonight. But I believe that this morning I turned on the TV and I think I saw Mitt Romney on live with Kelly and Michael. So, I mean, all the, they're both making appearances. Is that something that can be held against either candidate?
No, I mean, not generally, no. I mean, you communicate your message. The real key for Mitt Romney is to remain disciplined on the economic message and to really tell the voters how their situation is going to be impacted for the positive as under a President Romney administration. And so it's just not enough to say, I'm not President Obama, so vote for me. He needs to say, hey, I'm going to help your lot in life right now. We're going to get jobs going. I know how the economy works. He's got a great background and talk to that, but he needs to stay on that message.
All right. Well, you teed it up nicely to talk about what's happening with the video that is circulating that is getting so much attention this morning. Of course, we're talking about Mitt Romney, who, this video surfaced at a fundraiser from a few months ago showing him telling wealthy donors that almost half of all Americans, quote, believe they are victims entitled to extensive government support. He added that as a candidate for the White House, my job is not to worry about those people. So, what do we think about that, Eric?
That's the problem with staying, on message about the economy, which is debatable, which way the American public swings just on that issue. But the problem with staying on message is something keeps happening every day that in real time you got to respond to. Mm-hmm. And Mitt Romney will have to respond to things that are going on in the world now. And he's going to have to be very, very careful with how he responds and the rate at which he responds. I mean, everybody looking, happy and doing Letterman or morning TV, they have to do that stuff. And, it's kind of nonsense that we all criticize each other for doing, that. But the video was a mistake. He was at a private fundraiser. You want to run for president of the United States and there's a guy with a video camera in the room, then I would be very careful about it.
Well,
That's
it didn't
one.
look like it was hidden. It looked like maybe it was like either under the table,
possibly,
on the
but
table.
You're running for president. I would just assume.
Just assume.
But two, when you get your opportunity to respond, I would have bear hugged that issue if I was him. I would have embraced it, and I would have explained what I actually did mean. And he didn't do that either.
Well, at this news conference that he called yesterday, Romney conceded the comments weren't elegantly stated and that he had spoken off the cuff. Ed in Miami, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, he's right. He did speak off the cuff, and I do think that the campaign needs to go back to the economy. Now, a new issue did come up with respect to these, what I believe are terrorist attacks timed to 9/11 and around 9/11 in the Middle East. And this is an indication, in my view, of failed policies of Obama. I mean, some of this siding with the Muslim world on certain issues against our natural ally, Israel, I think is coming home to roost, is not paying the dividends that I think the Obama administration had hoped. In fact, with Benjamin Netanyahu in New York today, I mean, look, you've got a real schism. And so when we're talking about how we're undecided voters are, I think there's a large undecided, particularly in Florida, of Jewish voters who probably haven't voted for a Republican candidate in some time, but are considering Mitt Romney because they feel disenfranchised by the policies and the actions and are very concerned about where the Obama administration is relative to Israel.
And back onto the video, and you're right, this has definitely opened the gate. A lot of people are talking about each of their policies and their thoughts on domestic and foreign terrorism. Right. They also, I want to just bring up that Obama's campaign manager, Jim Messina, quickly issued a fundraising appeal based on this video that is now making the rounds, which, by the way, was shot May 17th at a fundraiser in Florida. And he says, Messina says, if we don't come through for President Obama right now, this will be the guy, meaning Romney, making big decisions that affect us and our families every single day.
But that response, which happened so quickly, remember, this is a video shot in May. Right. It's now making the rounds. Suddenly it's news now. What Jim did is he responded. Everybody on the list, I'm on it, got that email 6 different ways to Sunday immediately. That's the place that Obama wins all the time. He wins with social media. He wins on the internet. He wins with speed. He wins with efficiency there. That's where the swing vote is. I've been saying that for months.
What do you think about